everybody, it's the Pantry Party Show with your host, DJ Blattner. Today we have Marissa Moore with us, and she is something. You gotta check out her page. She's got some beautiful photography, and today she's giving the Pantry Party some inspiration for our kitchens. Without further ado, the Pantry Party Show starts right now. Hey everybody, it is so good to see you. How are you liking that theme song? We've been using it for the past, maybe 15 episodes or so. You know what? I'm really getting used to it. It's like one of those things where, when you hear the song, it's Pantry Party time. It's Pantry Party time. I am looking forward to having our next guest on. She's from Georgia, or she lives in Georgia. I don't know if she's from Georgia, but she lives there. And the best part to me is that I wore peach. Do you get it? Georgia peach. So let's see if Marissa's in the house. She's not here yet. But you know what? Hey, no big whoop. We'll give her a minute and see what's what. Until then, I'll spin you a little ditty here, and I can tell you, I can give you a sneak peek of what's happening on my Instagram tomorrow. Have you guys ever made chickpea flatbread? Have you ever made that? Tell you what, it is legit easy. And it's a pantry staple. So I feel like, in these days where we're talking everything about what can keep forever, it's chickpea flour. So tomorrow on my Instagram is going to be, we just made it, which is why it's on my mind and actually in my nose, I can smell it, is a chickpea flatbread with basically 2 ingredients, okay? And it is amazing. So anyway, I tempted you with my Instagram account for tomorrow. I do see our lovely Marissa Moore has arrived. So let's have her in and give her a warm pantry party welcome, shall we? Moore. Here we go, girl. Oh, hey, the rock girl. Nice to see you. Hey, how are you, Marissa Moore?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. For everybody watching, please know that Marissa is Marissa. No double R's, no double S's, all singular letters, because that is the one thing I always need to remember with you. It's all single letters.
Yeah, everybody puts 2 S's, and I'm used to just saying Marissa, 1 R, 1 S. And yes. If you happen upon Marissa with 2 S's more.com, I also own that because it happens so often.
Oh my God, talk about a boss babe. That is seriously pretty genius. I've read that before, advice of know how people are going to misspell your name and try and own that domain as well. So you did it. You're smart. I was telling everybody, although it looks like I'm mostly naked because you can't really see that I'm wearing a shirt, I did wear a Georgia peach shirt for you today.
Oh, yay.
Because that's where you live, but are you from there?
No, I'm originally from South Carolina, which, little secret, the peaches in South Carolina are much better than the ones in Georgia. For real. No, seriously, they are. And what's so funny, Georgia's known as the peach state, but Georgia produces more blueberries than they do peaches.
Well, now who feels like the idiot wearing peach? I mean,
no,
I should have been wearing a blueberry. I should have been wearing blueberry. But you know what? I think that's pretty funny is that the war of the peaches, it's Georgia peach versus South Carolina. South Carolina wins. Champagne Nutrition is on with us, and she said, sorry, she has made the mistake before of trying to give you a double S or double R. But why I think it's so important is because your handle, @Marissa Moore, spelled MARISAMOORE, is the most beautiful food photography. I have known you for years. I have seen your posts come through. But when you look at them all together is when you really see girl, you are a food photographer.
I don't even know how it happened. I just kind of started liking it, and I still, every day I feel like I need to improve more, but I like it, so it's not that hard to do. And by the way, Ginger, don't feel bad about putting 2 S's in my name. People who've known me for 20 years still do it, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, anyway, I thought I would lead with that because that's the most important part of getting you on Instagram is spelling your name right. And you know what, you can tell that you like food photography because truly and truly, everything looks so mouthwatering. Even basic things, you're like, oh my God, I need to make that. And and then when I read your sort of Instagram bio, I'm like, I wonder how Marissa sort of, you do so many things, like so many dietitians. But really, writer and recipe developer are the things that you feel are most of your job description, other than like spokesperson work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I do feel like I do a lot, but it's almost all in the same realm of culinary nutrition, communications. But I like to throw in the integrative part because I do a lot of research around just, functional nutrition and how foods help to make us better, right? So even though I'm not really seeing people one-on-one, I still, do a good bit in terms of just like the basic nutrition side of things. So most of my writing is like I get a little excited when there's new research about ginger and how it helps with digestion and probiotics and all that stuff. I still get really excited about it. So it's fun to put everything together. But yeah, communications all the way around. So
yeah, I think that's fair. It's like putting it in a bucket of culinary communications. Those are your two main buckets.
mm-hmm.
And you know what? Come on, girl. I love a good RD nerd or RDN nerd. Like, I feel like, seeing those research studies come through and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to write about this. And you think about all the pitch angles. I love that. The other thing that I know about you that I think is crazy is how much over the years, I feel like it's been years, you've contributed to the Food and Nutrition magazine, the app section. Girl, you must know more phone apps than anyone ever to exist. What's the deal with that?
It is possible that I know, but but I will say this. I feel like I do the reviews and then they kind of go out of my head because there are so many. So I am a contributing editor for Food and Nutrition magazine. So that's the magazine for that's a throwback, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And, it goes out to a bunch of dietitians and doctors' offices, but I focus on the food nutrition apps and I do reviews in that magazine every time it comes out. And I sometimes write articles too. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for new apps, but honestly, I review them and then I'm like, okay, on to the next. And some of them I do keep, but most of them I don't. I mean, my phone doesn't have room.
That was going to be my question. Is like, if I'm going to get a hold of, I mean, literally, how many episodes or what do you call those? How many editions of the magazine do you feel like you've done that article?
Oh my gosh. So I probably, it's been at least 6 years times 6.
Okay. So at least
times 6.
Let's say at least like 40 times you have gathered app after app after app after app in these things. And you just said the magic thing is that sometimes you keep one of the apps you reviewed in your phone and it's space. You don't have a lot of space. So do you have like a couple that you could share with me? Because I'm always on the lookout of a new app, but then I'm like,
let me think about that. What do I really like? I mean, I feel like I go back to the same ones over and over again, but one that I use over and over again that I found just looking through that was Insight Timer. If you like meditation, that's one of my favorites. It's old. Yeah. It's old, but it's one of my favorites. Yeah. It has everything. So a lot of times lately, there's another one, I think it's called Bloom, which is more of a therapy. So, I mean, I look at food and nutrition stuff, but I also look at like meditation and sleep and anything that's going to benefit us as dietitians. So,
you know what?
Those are the two that come to mind, which have nothing to do with food and nutrition.
No,
but
hey, I love it. And I feel like that really is what holistic, well-being is. The whole trend now is like, it's not so much even about wellness, it's about well-being.
Exactly.
And that's a very holistic word. And I really love it. And Insight Timer is probably, it is probably the one I use the most. Second is Focus at Will. I love that.
Yeah.
Music for productivity. So I love that. But the Insight Timer, I'm a big visualization person. I love to do those meditations where they're like, now you're climbing a mountain and you sit there and overlook on the ocean. I was like, yes, I love that stuff. So yeah, good call on that. So thank you for joining us today at the Pantry Party because, obviously you are filled with food inspiration. Just take a peek at Marissa Moore handle and you will see food inspiration. Where do you get your ideas to do all of these different things?
A bunch of places. Usually, it used to be restaurants.
It's
not
true
so
though.
much anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I grew up cooking probably like middle school-ish. I started cooking with my grandmother, and so I like a lot of old stuff with like a little bit of a healthy twist. But then anytime I see something that has beans in it and it has some kind of vegetables, I'm always drawn to it and I'm thinking, okay, how can I make that my own? Or I live in the South, so a lot of times people are asking, well, how do you make this healthier? So sometimes that's a good challenge for me. Just a variety of different ways that I get inspiration. We all want to try something new. Sometimes I just want to go with what I'm used to, right? But a lot of times it's, okay, how can I put these two things together in a little bit of a different way than I've seen, or take something that I've tried out somewhere and make it my own.
Yeah, well, first of all, you had me when you were like, anytime I see something with beans and vegetables, I'm drawn to it. I'm like, you are such a dietitian. I am. Too. Me too. You know what I like what you said there is like taking stuff from like when you grew up, or taking stuff of like your regional cuisine, like Southern food, and trying to like superfood it, amp it up, make it good for you, whatever. I like anytime somebody says DJ is the best, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that out loud, and I'm gonna be like, Marissa, the whole time you were talking, you were getting lots of hearts. You were getting lots of hearts.
Oh, like, thanks, guys.
But I only read the stuff that's like pro me, I guess. Oh God! But listen to this. When you think of like Southern, I love regional cuisine. Like, here's the thing. I think Chicago is like, deep dish pizza and hot dogs and like hot beef sandwiches. I don't know how much I love our regional cuisine here, but I do love Southern food. Like, is there something that you feel like either you grew up in South Carolina or even in Georgia that is like a Southern food that you just absolutely love, 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 love?
There's a lot. My favorite used to be mac and cheese. It's not so much anymore, but grits.
Oh, yes.
Honestly, and grits with cheese mostly. Salmon cakes.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another thing that's like really Southern that I love, that you don't see in other places a lot. Those are probably two of my favorite. And putting them together, salmon and grits. That's how I used to eat them, and that's how I love it. Yeah.
I love that. There's a Southern style brunch place by us that they have like a salmon cakes breakfast type of thing, and I get it all the time when they're open, because it's so different. It's so good. Yeah. I didn't really think about those salmon cakes being like a Southern thing, but I guess that's true. Look at that. Learning something new every day, kids, every day. So you get inspiration from all over. What's your inspiration to share with the pantry party today?
So today, when you asked me to come on, I started to think, okay, I'm not going to the store before I have to do this on Tuesday, because I'm just not. So I started looking around, trying to figure out what I could use up. Yes. And I have this basil plant. I don't usually keep it here. I keep it on the windowsill.
Okay.
But I put it here so you guys could see it without me having to get up. And I also have another little basil project. This looks terrible, but when it starts to grow out too much, I'll put it in a separate little jar, and it starts to grow roots. So I need to plant this part. But because I haven't been using the basil, I'm like, well, what can I share to use up the basil?
Okay.
I have a quick
question. I have to always interrupt.
Yeah.
What made you start to plant your own basil? Like, do you plant a lot of herbs? Is this to save money? Is this because you're like a real green thumb gal? Or like, what's the deal with doing herb planting of your own?
Yeah, so good question. No, probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer, I tried a garden, a real one, outside, and it was fine. But then like the animals started getting into it, and I did it for like 3 years, and I just haven't anymore. A lot of times I'll do something on the deck, but not a full-on garden. I haven't done that in a while. But this, to be perfectly honest, is just grocery store basil that I bought and kept the little plant. And because the reason why I do that though is because when you buy the little teeny tiny little plastic thing of herbs, it doesn't last long. And you use it for one recipe and then you end up wasting all of it. But if you buy this plant, I bought the plant probably, I don't know, maybe a month ago. And I've just been watering it and taking what I need from it. And I haven't had to buy basil for a while. So I'll just let that go until it doesn't anymore. I'll buy another one, or I might, as the summer goes on, I might plant some, but I doubt it.
Okay, now can I just say thank you for being real with me, because here's the deal. It's like I can't see, maybe because I'm so urban, I don't know. I grew up with my mom and dad having a backyard garden in Illinois. Like that was like a big thing, like picking green beans from our yard and like all this stuff. I can't get into it. I literally can't get into it. I could have some like pots on our balcony. I live in a condo. I could do like some sort of thing. Got no interest. I've got zero interest in this. But you saying something just really inspired me. It's like, it's true. I love basil. I go to the store, I buy that little pack. It pretty much either I use it or it rots right there. There's barely any in there. And so, yes, buying that plant, which I have seen at my grocery store too, just buying it and having it around seems so not intimidating.
Yeah, it's not. And you buy it. You don't even have to put it in a pot. You can just keep it in a little thing. But if you put it in a pot, though, it's going to last longer if you put more dirt around it. And just find a sunny window in a place that you're going to remember, though, because if you forget, you're not going to water it. You do have to water it and give it sun. That's it. And you can have basil for as long as you take care of it.
I love it. We got a thumbs up. The Rock Girl gives you a thumbs up for being real with the garden like that.
Yeah. No, I'm not going and clipping basil from my luscious garden of herbs and vegetables right now. No.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. Good to know. I'm feeling on the same page very much. So now you were saying as I interrupted, you were saying that you have all this basil. You haven't been using it.
Yep. And so I decided that I could do a basil vinaigrette. And this recipe is actually on my website, homemade, easy basil vinaigrette. And it's a super simple recipe, and it uses up a whole cup of basil. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. And actually, you've got somebody asking how often you water it. Now, she does live in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I always call it Hotlanta, because I mean you probably have to water yours differently than I would mine in like Illinois, my Illinois son. Who knows? But yeah, how often do you water it?
Like every 3 days, 4 days. It just depends. I'll kind of take a look at it. If it's droopy, then it's probably been a few days, because that does happen.
This is me. I don't have many plants around. My husband mostly takes care of them anyway, but. Yes, the clue when I'm like, hey, it's time to water it, it's like the whole practice, like,
I try not to let it get to that point, but it happens. So I don't know, maybe 2 times a week-ish.
Okay, cool. And then somebody said that they put one in a mason jar and they don't even have a green thumb and it's working for them. So anyway,
yeah, that's what happened with this project. I know, like, you can see all the roots, and I need to plant it again, but yeah, it just keeps growing.
That's awesome.
And you can do this not just with basil. You can do cilantro, parsley. It works with a lot of different herbs. So I encourage you to try whatever you have.
Now, I like this because this sounds different than, because a lot of people hear, oh, I've got herbs, and their first thought, even mine, is like, I gotta make pesto.
Yeah.
Pesto.
And actually, I thought about doing pesto, but I was going to do pesto with kale. But my kale went bad.
Well, hey, you know what? Why I like this is I feel like a vinaigrette, it leans into more easy of a situation, right? So it's like, I don't need to have cheese. I don't need to have pine nuts or some kind of nuts. I don't need to have anything, but like the vinaigrette is very basic. It's like vinegar, oil, and herb, right?
Exactly. And with the pesto too, we're not doing pesto, but I was going to do walnuts with it, because who's just stocking pine nuts every day? Nobody's doing that. Someone asked the question about roots and the basil leaves. No, it does not. If you buy fresh basil and it doesn't have roots, you can still put it just in water and it'll grow roots on its own.
What? Come on. What are you talking about? So if I get basil out of that plastic little thing.
Yep. I'm telling you, cut the bottom off because it's probably dried out. But cut the bottom off, put it in some water, and it will grow roots. That's what this one did. Promise you.
So, okay, Angie, what do I do?
Angie just joined. You remember Angie? She's like, you want to say hi?
I gave her a wave, girl. I gave her a wave already. A warm pantry party wave. But wait, listen to this. I trim off the bottom, I put it in water, I start to see roots, and then what do? After I start seeing those roots, I keep it in the water, or then I got to put it in the soil?
So it's gonna keep growing roots, so you need to do something at some point. Like this is too much right here. But it would be best if I went ahead and put it in some dirt.
Okay.
And then it'll just keep going.
This is
It'll keep
crazy.
going.
So like that plant that you bought from the grocery store, though that project that you keep pointing to, that's extra leaves that came off of that you clipped, put in water, and they grew roots, and now you could potentially have another plant.
Or I can gift it to a friend, right? And everybody has basil.
Can I just say, why is this like so mind-blowing? Even the rock girl has like multiple mind-blowing emojis coming up. I don't know why. I mean,
So for this recipe though,
okay,
it's too easy. That's the thing. Like we're all trying not to waste food and as much as possible. I mean, hopefully we're doing that all the time. But right now, because who wants to go to the store all the time? It's a whole thing to go to the store. So I don't want to do that. While we're talking, I am peeling garlic as well because I'm going to add that to the
Should we need to see you? Should we bring it down?
You know what? I probably need to do that. Luckily, I put on real pants, so I'm going to get up and see if I can.
The pressure of the pantry party is real, you guys, because it's like cleaning out their pantries, they're putting on real clothes. It's like amazing. Somebody said you had a pretty kitchen. The rock girl said you had a pretty kitchen.
Oh, thank you. It's old. Okay. You can see a little bit. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at this demo happening for us. Pantry party. We're excited about this. Okay.
So this recipe will come together super, super fast. All we're going to do, I went ahead and I washed some basil already. Oh, another thing I wanted to say, if you're picking from the basil, pick it from the top and use some scissors to cut it. The reason is because you generally want to, you don't want to stunt the growth, but you also, if you let the basil grow too tall, it'll start to sprout flowers. And when it does that, it actually changes the flavor of the basil. And the same thing happens with cilantro. It just starts to change the flavor, and it's not as good to me. Sometimes the basil will actually get a little spicier, but you generally don't want it to grow flowers. So when someone says, oh, my cilantro has these beautiful white flowers, I'm like, oh, I let it go a little too long.
You know what's so crazy? I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm like crying because I love tips like this. Like these are like legit. I mean, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm seriously like crying because like that is such a silly little tip that I'm like, oh my God, you're so genius. Okay, fine.
Well, it's
I don't
that
need to cry over this.
Yeah, no, it's that, and then it's also the whole idea of the basil will start to get really woody, like the stem will. So I wanted to show you, like I pulled some of those off. It's like not really very pliable.
Yeah.
You don't want to put that into your food because that's just never going to cook down.
Okay.
So you want to stick with, the nice limber ones. But for this dressing, we're just going to use some extra virgin olive oil, of course. And I'm going to do 1/4 cup. And there's a whole debate about how much acid to acid to oil. You can do what you want to do.
Thank you. Rebecca has said, she said, it's okay, Dawn. I've been crying over silly things too. I mean, legit added to the list that she's telling us to cut from the top of a basil plant threw me into like a tears.
Yeah, you want to do that. It's just a little things, right? So I'm pouring in 1/4 cup.
Okay, 1/4 cup of virgin olive oil. Yep,
I'll put that in there. I'm just using my NutriBullet because this is a teeny tiny amount of dressing. If you're making a bigger one, then use a real blender. We're gonna do lemon juice, but you could also do like a red wine vinegar or any acid that you have. It's fine. This lemon, I'm not really sure about. We're gonna see.
This is a perfect recipe using the things that are dicey.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it this way first. Okay, it looks good. So it looks like it's actually still pretty good and
Thank
juicy.
you for doing that off camera so we didn't have to see rancid.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure, but because it's been in there for a while. Now, do you put your lemon in this way or that way?
I can't see. Where's your, open it up all the way.
This is the side with the holes.
So the side.
So do you do this way or that way?
No.
This way, right?
Yes.
I do the same thing. I was watching a cooking show the other day, And they were like, oh, it goes the other way. I'm like, no, I just.
No, it doesn't, because the holes are right there, and then the juiciest part that's going to get juice is, yeah, you're right.
I don't understand why you would do that, because it seems like the juice would just fly everywhere.
Right. Yes. You know what? I think you need to write into that show.
You're wrong.
You know, people do that. People do that all the time. I get the weirdest comments on my like website and stuff of like, thanks for the advice, you know, life advice and all sorts of stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, so I'm going to use both sides of this because we want to get about 2 tablespoons of juice.
Okay.
In here. This would be much easier if I was standing up, but then you wouldn't be able to see my face, so.
Right. Well, and you know, we want to see that beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in here. And now I'm just eyeballing it. And if you can look and see it's starting to separate a little bit. You can kind of see it's about half and half.
Okay,
so
so
you have
you're in the 4 tablespoons oil to 2 tablespoons acid.
Yes.
That's your vinaigrette ratio.
Ratio, exactly. And then I like a lot of garlic.
It's so good for you.
It is.
I always am screaming. I'm like, my husband, I'm like, you put too much garlic in here. He's like, there's never too much. But I'm like, all right. Fine.
It's never too much. And so for this one, I say 2 cloves of garlic. So I was kind of peeling it while we were chatting. And put those in there.
There's a Handel, Bourbon in Indiana, has joined us. And so he would probably put bourbon in this vinaigrette, just saying.
Bourbon?
Yeah.
Huh. That would be different.
That would be different.
Yeah. So I'm going to add just a pinch of red pepper flakes.
I love that. Good add.
You could do just regular pepper. It's fine. But it does need just a little bit of something. And then I'm doing a pinch of salt as well.
Do you have a salt that you love?
Say what?
Do you have a salt that you love that you're like, are you like a salt prude or anything?
No. I mean, I do. I have like 4 different salts in the house. Because I'm always making recipes. So I do have the super expensive Maldon whatever that I never use. And then I have pink Himalayan salt, which I could have used that, cracked that in there. I have just regular old kosher salt. And it seems like I have one other one, probably smoked salt or something. Who knows? But, you know, this is the everyday salt.
Yep.
What else? So we got the pepper in here, the garlic, the basil. Oh, and then the basil. We got to put that in there.
So that's
kind of important part.
Ball for basil vinaigrette with basil, people.
Exactly. So that's it. It goes in here.
How much basil would you say that was?
It's a cup. About a cup. Yeah, probably that might be a little less than a cup, but about a cup.
Okay.
And just like anything else, you can adjust. You know, this is just going to kind of be our first run. We'll see how it goes. And if we need to add more liquid, more acid, more oil, or more basil, we can do that. I think we might need more lemon because my lemon, it didn't give me as much as I wanted it to.
It was like a dried up in the back of your fridge type of lemon.
Yeah, so I'm going to blend this up real quick.
Good. I like that it's sort of like, because of the garlic and the basil, it's like sort of thick and creamy too.
It is, but we need a little bit more liquid. So I'm going to just add a little bit more, see if I can grab a little bit more lemon here. And then...
Yeah, come on, give it some elbow grease, girl. You could get out extra lemon from that. Come on, squeeze it. Come on, everybody cheer on.
Let's see if we can get some more. That might be about it. I might add just a little bit more oil. I'm cheating right now, but we got to make it go. All right. Oh, you know what? There's a little bit left in here, so maybe that's part of it. But this will be done in just a second.
Cool. Cool. What are you going to use this vinaigrette for? I mean, obviously we know vinaigrette goes on salad, but anything else you like to use it on?
I never use it for salad, actually.
There you go. I like that.
I never do. So I actually created this recipe to go on grilled summer vegetables.
Oh, you know what? That sounds great. The other thing that I would love this on is roasted sweet potato fries.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good. So
I love that.
Roasted sweet potato fries or roasted vegetables in general. But you know what I like to put it on?
What?
Scrambled eggs.
I did a gas that wasn't a gas, you guys. That was not a gasp of like, you know, make believe. Like that was a true gasp. Do you know how delicious that would be? Oh my gosh. Oh
so I don't know. Can you see this?
It looks so thick.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is.
Yeah.
Really.
The Rock Girl asked about your NutriBullet. If you like it, and there's a particular brand or anything.
It's a NutriBullet. That's the actual brand, and I've had it for ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it.
Okay. If you ever want advice of how to blow it out because you need a new one, I can teach you how to do that, because basically I can get every hand size blender that exists, and I know how to use it 10 times. On the 11th time, I know how to explode it and burn it out.
Oh no!
Every single time. It's always too much frozen fruit and not enough liquid, and then I just keep it going. I keep it going, and then it smokes and burns out.
Oh no! Don't do that.
Thank you. I'm working on it. So I love the idea though of roasted or grilled vegetables in this on top, because it sort of adds something fresh to something that's cooked, and to me that's like the best thing. I always like something fresh on top of something cooked.
Exactly. I've done it on roasted cauliflower, but my favorite tomatoes in the summer. If you just have like great tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, this is your instant little vinaigrette or marinade.
Okay, wait, do you know, that's another mind-blowing thing, because here's what I know, is that that's the most popular thing, right? Is that everybody has that tomato, basil, and like mozzarella salad or thing or whatever in the summer.
Yes.
I love the idea of all of those tomatoes just drizzled with basil, so I'm not having to eat the whole leaf like that. Like it's that basil flavor all over it. That would be a beautiful, if we can gather in the summer, which, you know, let's hope so, and you need to bring something to your summer gatherings. Like that's the most perfect thing. But I have to make this, and I have to, two things. I have to get the basil, and I want to grow roots on my basil. Like that for sure.
And it won't take long. Like 2 weeks, 2 weeks you're going to have roots, I promise.
Oh my God. I'm dying. I have to buy basil and root it and try and do this. That is crazy time. I have to try this basil vinaigrette because it's so easy. And I love the idea of it on roasted vegetables and the tomatoes, but mostly I've got to try it with the eggs, like you said.
It's like, seriously, it's the best thing.
Girl,
and I only discovered it because I'm like, okay, well, how do I use this up? And I'm like,
fabulous.
Maybe.
Can you do something for me? This would be a first on the pantry party. Can you stand up and take a bow?
Sure.
Take a bow. Come on, dude, this is beautiful. It's like pantry staples galore. It's super easy. It makes food, like I could even see it making like, you know, frozen vegetables that aren't even all that tasty, taste fresh and amazing.
Exactly.
But I think this is so useful and a smart thing that's just not, you know, again, pesto is great, not throwing it under the bus, but it's another thing that we can do to save our herbs from going bad and not using them. It's genius, girl.
Well, I'm glad you like it. And you can do this with parsley, cilantro, you know, any of those sort of in-between herbs that you have.
I love that. You know, we've been making a lot. I've been having buying parsley and then like sort of not using it for what I thought I was going to use it for. And I've been making like sort of like it's a vinaigrette, but it's like the chimichurri.
Oh yeah,
parsley chimichurri. I think it's probably basically the same exact recipe, except instead of calling it a vinaigrette, you just call it chimichurri.
It's a little thicker though, right? Like it's more.
Yeah. It's
like
a little
not
thicker.
Chunky, but you can see the herbs a little bit more, right?
Yes, I think, I do think that if you did it with the right process, it probably would look like that. I just put it in my baby blender that I have, my 30th baby blender that I have, and it works. Hey, seriously, if people want more of Marissa Moore, where should they go? What should they do? Teach us how to get more of your magical ways.
So I'm Marissa Moore everywhere. Marissa with one S, Marisa, Moore everywhere, including my website. And so I'll this will be live afterwards, right? You're gonna save it?
Yes, I'll have it for 24 hours. It'll be in my feed, and then I'll have it on IGTV.
Okay, cool. So I will, on my stories, I'll just go ahead and link to this recipe so people can find it. Yeah, and just say, you know, if you missed it today, I'll do that. But yeah, it's easy to find, homemade basil vinaigrette. But yeah, I'm on Instagram. You can find me at Marissa Moore, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. And yeah, reach out. I'm always happy to answer questions too. If people have nutrition questions, food questions, like I like that stuff. So feel free to reach out if you have questions.
I love that. And I will reach out for those things. And I was thinking some life questions as well, because you seem to have your stuff together, girl. You
Some
just did
questions?
a fancy party that made me cry. I loved everything about it. Thank you so much, at Marissa Moore.
Thank you, Dawn. It was good to see you.
Thank you. Back at you. That was another fabulous episode of the Pantry Party Show with at Marissa Moore. If you haven't been to her Instagram page, definitely check it out. Her food photography is gorgeous. And what a fun recipe, right? We learned so much about growing basil ourselves, which I never really lean into, but she totally made it seem doable. Like, I'm into it. I love that idea. I cried like a baby when she was teaching us how to clip basil off of a plant. Not sure why, but I did. And then that vinaigrette was so darn easy, and I love her uses for it with the roasted and grilled vegetables, and then putting it on tomatoes like for a salad, and then also on the eggs. I mean, what a pantry party. It's been a roller coaster of emotion. So guess what? We're going to do this again tomorrow. The Pantry Party Show is every weekday at noon Central Time, so make sure you tell your friends. So until next time, sending you high immunity vibes, big love, and lots of kisses. Thanks, guys.